It saves me quite a bit of time.
Hey everyone, Matt here from Wi-Fi Ninjas, and in this video I'm going to be showing you my #1 Ekahau tip. Hopefully this will save you quite a bit of time when you next come to use Ekahau for one of your predictive designs. So let's jump straight in. So now I have my Ekahau project file in front of me, which is just an empty project file. There's nothing configured in here so far. So what's the first thing that we're going to do? We're going to bring in a floor plan. So let me just add my apartment image into the Ekahau file. So now we can see that we've got my floor plan, and I want to start doing my predictive design. So the first thing that I'm going to do is scale. So usually you would properly scale your building, but this is just a demo that I want to share with you guys. So the first thing that I will do is then draw the walls, but for me personally, the walls inside of Ekahau, they're a bit dull to look at. I like looking at, pretty things. So what I will do is I'll come into here where I've got a drywall, and I will change that from being boring brown to a nice shade of green, which I like. So I'll keep the wall same attenuation, lost 3 dBs, but I like to change the color of the drywall, and usually I'll come in and I will change the color of the concrete, because not only do I not like looking at gray, but sometimes gray is quite hard to see on the background of your floor plan. So another thing that once I've got my floor plan loaded and it's scaled and I've drawn the walls in, you're going to put in your coverage areas. But I have had the same iPhone for a while now, and I've got the same MacBook Pro, and I've done my offsets, and I know what my offset is compared from my device to the Sidekick or whatever I want to be doing the design for. So what I would then come and do in my project file is I would add my device requirements into here. So I would go into the project and I would select device profiles, and we can see that we've got custom ones that are already in here from Ekahau. So they put in some generic laptops with some offset losses, but what I would do is I would come in here and I would add my iPhone X, and I would know that actually on 2.4 compared to the Sidekick, it's actually got a plus 3 dB gain compared to the Sidekick, and my offset for 5 gig actually is 5 dB worse. So if I want to apply a project device profile offset, I can come in here and I've added it, and now I can close that. And I would say I want to add my MacBook Pro into here. I would go into here and I would add it again. So my MacBook Pro, I want to set my MIMO. I want to say, actually, you know what, my MacBook Pro sees it at, I don't know, say -6 and -10, and I would close it. But also I would also want to set some coverage requirements. So I go back again to the project coverage requirements, and now we've got some Ekahau best practices in here, but I've got specific requirements I like to usually hit. So my Wi-Fi Ninjas best practices, for example. So what I want to do, I want to add my own one and then call it Wi-Fi Ninjas best practices, and I don't want to apply it across both bands. This is a very nice new feature from Ekahau where we can define signal strength for 2.4 and 5 gigahertz now, whereas before it was combined. So I want to say, I don't care too much about 2.4, so my main signal strength, that can be neg 70, but on 5 gig I want it to be neg 65. The secondary, I would change that to say neg 75, and then for the 5 gigahertz I would want to make it neg 70. Signal to noise ratio as well for the 2.4, again I'm not too bothered, so it can be 20, but my 5 gigahertz I want that to be at least 25, so I got some good quality voice Wi-Fi there. Data rate, maybe for 2.4 it can be 12, but for 5 gig I want it to be 24. Channel interference, yeah, 3 that can be fine for 2.4, but you know what, on 5 gigahertz I want a completely clean environment. I don't want any channel interference, so even if there's one, I want it to be failing my requirements. And then we can change like what we care about, the signal strength of the channel interference. So maybe on 2.4 it can be neg 85, but on 5 gigahertz we can make that neg 78. Just an example. And we can change the round trip time to what we want it to be for both of our different frequency bands, and we can say that can be 5 and that can be 2. Cool. So now I've got that closed. That's my kind of best practices that I want to adhere to. So all of my projects, I've got that in there. I've just loaded it in, no worries. But also I'm the one that's always going to be doing my project file, so I want to add into the project notes my details. So I go over to project notes, and I'll say the responsible person is myself, and then I can just add that into there as my project notes. But that's probably taken me the best part of 2 to 5 minutes to do that, and I do that every single time I open a new project file for Ekahau, because there's no way of saving these as defaults onto my Ekahau project file. But my number one tip, what I recommend you do, is create a base project file with all of your requirements that I've just gone through and set onto there. So what I mean by that is I've created a blank Ekahau file, and I have put all of those requirements in to my Ekahau project. So I'm just going to open my Wi-Fi Ninja's base project file. I'm not going to save the changes, but if we look into my project file now that I've just opened up, which is the Wi-Fi Ninja's base project file, and we have a look at the walls, we can see when I get down to concrete and drywall, it's got the colors that I'd set previously, but they're already in here. And how about for maybe a attenuation area? Now I changed the cubicle to be orange and the different height and the different dB loss, because that's just some of the results that I've found. And I've also added into here my coverage requirements that we just set. So my Wi-Fi Ninja's requirements, what I want my network to perform at, that's already in here. And if we take a look at the device profiles, and I go through the drop down, we can see my iPhone X is in here, as well as my MacBook Pro 16-inch. And then finally, if we look at my project notes, we can see it's got my responsible person in there as myself. So what I do is I open this file first before I upload any floor plans into here, or for any new customer or any project that I'm working on. So what I can do is I can just add in my floor plan and then do a file, save as, I haven't drawn any walls, and then what I would do is I would change it from Wi-Fi Ninja's base project file to the Veil predictive design version 1, and then continue my design after that. So it saves me quite a bit of time, and it's just a good way of getting what you like to have as your requirements set in a base file, which you can then build off for your new projects and hopefully save you some time. So that's my number one tip for Ekahau. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you again very soon.